Państwu, bardzo się cieszę, że tak licznie przybyliście i pozdrawiam też serdecznie tych wszystkich, którzy nas oglądają oczyma tych kamerek. Eksperyment po raz pierwszy na Mystic Festival, Mystic Talks, czyli rozmowy o rzeczach ważnych. Dzisiaj druga strona metalu, Kobiety w muzyce ekstremalnej. Agata Hudomięt poprowadzi. Panel będzie po angielsku, tylko moja zapowiedź jest po polsku. Zapraszam, Agato, oddaję Ci głos.
Halo? Halo? Słychać? Okay. So, hi girls. We have Justine Jones from Employed to Serve, Katherine Shepard from Sylvaine, or aka Sylvaine, and Karolina Duszkiewicz from CF98.
Hi. Hello.
So, yeah, the topic of our panel is women in extreme music, and it's a quite broad topic, to be honest, and we could talk about it for more than an hour. But I think I'll start with a question I always ask women, artist women, and it's about gender equality in lineups of music festivals. I really want to know, what do you think about it? So maybe we can start with Karolina.
Hi everyone. Actually, I'm coming from a little bit different scene, which is punk rock. So I don't know if it's going to be relevant for everybody here, but well, we have to divide this topic into two times: when you are younger and then when you are growing up in the scene. Because when you are younger, I believe there is not so much gender equality, or maybe you just see it a lot more. But later on, when you grow up, when you get older, the art of not giving a fuck is a long way to go, you know? So I think it comes with the time that you just learn how to work with this, how to process this all in your mind. And 15 years ago, it was totally different, you know, like totally different lineups. I think it's getting better and better, and some festivals where we play as well, they are known as well for having more and more female artists, and they are bragging about it, so this is really, really great. Yeah, so I think like times are changing, you know.
Yeah, sorry, is this on? Hello. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like kind of echoing what you were saying. Like, I feel like our festivals such as this one, I think, has a real emphasis on making sure that there is like a nice variety of people in the bands. Some of the bigger festivals, I feel like, have a bit more work to do, but like I feel across the board, I think everything's kind of improving. Just making sure that everyone from all backgrounds are, you know, performing, which is, you know, visibility is more like so important, especially like when you're performing in front of young people growing up, they can kind of see themselves in you. So it kind of helps perpetuate the scene, basically.
Yeah, so hello, everyone, first and foremost. I have to say, being from Norway, where gender equality is not perfect, of course, but it's quite advanced compared to other places, some places at least in Europe or in the world in general. I know that the festivals there really try to make an effort to make the lineups a bit more diverse, to make sure that, as you said, you have role models that are represented across the board, regardless of gender or any kind of thing like that. So I think there's no getting around the fact that metal is still a very, very male-dominated scene in general, but it's changing. I think that there's more and more people that identify as female that are given a place and a stage, a voice in this scene. And I think we can see that in the lineups as well. So definitely, you know, baby steps. There's still things to do with this, but I think it's improving slowly but surely.
As you said, you're from Norway, and the music scene in there, I think it's really male-dominated, as you said. And I was wondering, did you feel a lot of support from the scene when you were starting?
No. No is the answer to that question. No, I mean, it's a two-part thing. It's not only gender. It's also because of the genre that I kind of ended up in, even though I didn't make a conscious choice which kind of genre I was going to end up in. I just went for a sound that felt like home to me. I already know that Norway was going to be a difficult market for me. And then, of course, you have the kind of the black metal roots coming from this country. And that's a boys' club, let's be honest. There's not a whole lot of female influence in this scene from the beginning. It was not very present at all. So didn't have a lot of role models in this scene growing up. Some, of course, definitely. Knew that I was going to have to prove myself a little extra going into this scene as a woman.
Can you name those role models?
Well, you have, of course, you have bands that are like Katherine is one that is a really good vocalist, for example. You have Justine, which is another one. You have several singers that are in the scene, but not much when you look at how many bands and how many artists we have in the scene. So, of course, there are some, but not a whole lot, actually.
Justine, can you say something about your scene and the time when you were starting? Because you have a band and you also run a label, so you got a lot of stuff on your plate. And did you felt supported by your music scene?
Yeah, I mean, I was very lucky. The scene I grew up in is from kind of like post-hardcore, metalcore kind of roots. So like bands like Converge, like Death Wish were like a huge part of me growing up. So I was lucky enough to have bands like Gouge Away, like Super Unison, Oathbreaker, bands like that. And in the UK scene, I had bands like Roller Tomasi. So there's quite a few women like in music anyway, and Svalbard's another one. So like I had quite a few girls around me like growing up, like through the scene, because I started when I was like 20, maybe 19, 20. But it's like only improved from there. And like fortunately I haven't like experienced any sort of sexism as such, like because the scene that I kind of came through is very like hot on that, and like very or at least like tries to be very inclusive. So yeah, like it's only sort of like as you know the band's sort of grown, I kind of see it a little bit more because it's like it's wider, isn't it? So naturally there's could be more sort of people to contend with.
Karolina, this is very interesting for me because you started 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, so it's quite a lot of time. And can you tell me what the scene even looked like back then? In Poland,
Jesus.
I mean,
I'm old, I don't remember that much. No, actually, well, punk rock scene was also always about supporting each other. So I think in punk rock scene was, I think especially in punk rock scene was from the beginning making aware everybody is like treated equally, even though of course you like experience some shitty behaviors like everywhere. But I think in punk rock scene, I got this support. I think like of course not from everyone. The shittiest part I think for every girl, when especially when you are young, I think not everybody, like the majority of people, when you see the guy on the stage, nobody will question you. Where do you come from? Who put you on that stage? And the shittiest comments times when I started, like back then, was about where does she come from? What did she do so she's here? Like, does she really deserve this? What was going on? So I think there are the most shittiest behaviors were connected with this actually. So this is what I remember the most, and you really have to, you know, get over it, process this in your mind, not take it seriously because it will, you know, define what you think about everything if you treat it seriously. And it's like a hard work to do, to be honest. So this is what I remember the most from, you know, back then when we've been starting. Like 18, 19 years ago, something like this, so yeah.
Girls, do you have similar experiences about, you know, not so nice guys saying that you shouldn't be here?
I've had like security guards try and like at one of the festivals played last year. I crowd surfed and I came back and I got escorted off the stage by security. That was quite funny. But I had my pass side stage, so I was like, no, I was on the stage, promise. So I had that, so that was quite funny. Just like gross things like guys asking for kisses at like the merch stand and stuff. So that's pretty mean.
You're married, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And your husband plays in a band with you? Okay. Sylvaine?
Yeah, so basically a bit the same as what Karolina was saying, that that's also kind of what I mentioned 2 seconds ago, that you feel like you have to prove yourself much more. For me personally, I already struggled a lot with self-confidence when it came to music, for many reasons, I guess. But that didn't help, I have to say, having to kind of prove that I'm not the blonde bimbo that I might look like, and prove that I actually know what I'm talking about. Like when guys try to dumb down when they talk about like gear or stuff like that, you know, this pedal that makes the guitar go, rrr, rrr. And I'm like, you mean a distortion pedal? Which one? The Rat, the Full Tone, a Tube Screamer? And the people are just like, you know, I haven't had any really, really bad experiences either, luckily. But it's taken me some years to prove to the people that I work with, actually, my label, booking agents, people around me, that I'm here for a reason. And the same thing, this kind of thing of, but why is she here? Or like, you know, because you're connected to certain other people. Oh, it's because of that. Oh, yeah, she was playing with this person, so he writes out the music, right? And it's taken quite some years to kind of prove that that's not the case. It's sad that you even have to think about proving that, actually. But it's taken some time to grow a bit thicker skin, and you use it as fuel instead of seeing it as something that will push you down after a while. It takes some time, but it makes you just want to prove them wrong, even though, again, that's kind of sad, but that's what you do. You take their stupidity and you use it to your advantage, basically.
Yeah, I think that's the worst, maybe not the worst part, but also like it grows in you that you are thinking for like many times that you have to prove them wrong. And this is something you cannot focus on your own creativity, on your music, on writing songs, on all of that stuff connected with being in a band, playing in a band. And you have to just, you know, every hour you have this thought in your head that, okay, I have to prove them wrong. So it also doesn't help, as you said. It also doesn't help in, you know, like being natural, being authentic to everybody and to yourself. So it sucks, yeah.
And it's also a really good way to end up in burnout. Take it from someone that has done that. So, because you try to overcompensate and you want to do everything so well and you want to be like this super woman, at least for me, because I have a solo project and I do everything, like from writing the music to booking the flights to come here today. You know, I do everything myself. And it's really easy to end up in burnouts when you are always wanting to prove yourself. So that's definitely a very toxic mindset, but one that's kind of hard to get around when you're a woman in this scene. So maybe one day I won't be as... For me, I'm still working on this, but it's definitely getting a bit better, I think.
And I want to say that I think to every girl, like young girl who is listening right now to us, like us talking like all the bad stuff is what happened like long time ago. I want to say that it changes in time, and when you are young, you are taking all those stuff very seriously, but then you find your way. You grow up and you know your value. There are less and less people who are questioning your value, your place on the stage, and I think it's getting really better with time. So this is something we need to remember. But so it's getting really easier. So I wish someone could say this to me when I was younger, that this shit will be over soon. Like maybe not over, but it's getting better with time. Not maybe fast, but it will be better in time.
I think to sort of add to that as well, it's not isolated to just music. Like it's every profession, every facet of any career that you have as a woman. You're naturally gonna have like these kind of obstacles you have to overcome. And then the longer you're in it, and the like more you learn, and like the more you have the support from people around you, the more you realize you can use it to your advantage. So, for example, if a crew guy goes, "Oh, you can't lift that," I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can't. Go on, carry it for me. Thank you." So you can find your ways around it. But like, "Oh yeah, I can't book flights. Go on then." So you can make it an easier ride for you if you want.
Do you feel like gender plays a vital role in the music, the art that you're making? Like, I don't know, in the lyrics maybe?
Personally, for us, not really, because ours is sort of more like about mental health and sort of like experience, which is like a universal thing, no matter what gender you are. So yeah, not particularly for us, because we don't sort of sing about like rights and things like that. We're not.
Actually, that's a good question. Because I've been thinking about it, and with those times when I was trying to prove myself, I was really, really trying to write the lyrics everyone in the band could relate to. And I think it took me many, many years that actually, hey, you can also write your personal stuff. And it's okay, you know, you don't have to be like afraid of this or be ashamed of this. So I think, yeah, that's a good question, because first of all, I just wanted to make sure that every single guy on the stage with me in a band could relate to. Yeah, that's changed.
Now, fuck them. No, but for me, I honestly don't really. I mean, maybe that's a silly thing to say, but for me, I don't really see gender when it comes to art. I don't really mind. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of gender someone is born into or has identified as when they're creating art. If it's visual, if it's music, if it's poetry, photography. This is something that I don't really care about, to be honest. And I also kind of think that it's a thing we need to talk about it now, because there is an inequality, and that's why we're sitting here talking about this. But I hope that one day we can forget about gender at all when it comes to art, because that's not the point, for me anyways. So I don't know, like, has my work been influenced by the fact that I'm female? Maybe. I don't know. I think more than anything it's been influenced by the fact that I'm a super hypersensitive person that's really, really emotional, I guess, emotionally open, very spiritual person. And I feel like that could have been regardless of if I was born a girl or a guy. So I don't know, maybe not. Not consciously, it hasn't been something, but I'm sure that some people listening to my music could perceive it as feminine, because it has an emotional quality that unfortunately is tied to being feminine, which is also something that's kind of sad to me.
Sorry. I was wondering if you could tell me something. Maybe we can talk about something positive in this weird topic. So maybe you could tell me about the highlights of your career. Every one of you is making music for some quite long time, and I'm sure there's been a lot of stuff that happened that you are very proud of. Karolina.
We survived. That's the highlight. No, but seriously. Oh my gosh, I don't like to talk about highlights, because for me, like, being here, even like at Mystic Festival, every moment actually is a highlight. Of course, except for all that shitty stuff, everything else is a highlight. So the fact that I am here, that I can still sing, that I still have a band where everyone cares about this band, we still are playing festivals, we still meet for rehearsals, we still have a friendship, we still create together. I think that's the highlight. You know, I don't expect anything else, to be honest. I like simple stuff in life, and I think that's it. Yeah, and nobody's right now, as we talk about this topic, nobody's questioning right now, and there are no comments, and please don't do that anywhere you go. But I think we grew up from this as well, from those comments like, she's a good guitarist for a girl. she's a good drummer for a girl. She's a good bassist for a girl, you know. So I think we just long time like got over it. So yeah, I think that's the highlight, to be here and enjoy, you know, all those festivals, music shows, and everything together. Yeah, and as you said. Creativity doesn't have a gender, you know. If like someone is good at this, I stopped to see people as a, you know, gender, and if it's like in music, in poetry, in every kind of stuff, this shit is good or not, you know. It doesn't matter who is creating this. So yeah, thanks for saying that. It was cool.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to say, but you put it in, you know, right words.
Yeah, just to echo it, like, my existence is a highlight. Like, I just love everything I do. I run a label, I help other young bands do what, like, achieve their dreams. I play with my best friends in a band. I'm, like, invited all around the world to do awesome things like this. Like, every day I wake up grateful that I chose this path for myself. And also, like, how extreme music, like, we're not cool people. Like, we were never the cool people in school. Like, so that's why we sort of gravitated towards this weird little niche of music that, like, parents can't listen to because it's too screamy. So I just think it's, like, really important that we don't kind of gatekeep, and it's more open to more outcasts and people who feel like they don't fit into the mainstream. And yeah, and just, like, make it more inclusive, really. So I'm just waffling now.
I think we all are. That's okay.
It's very warm.
It's warm. I mean, just have to agree with the ladies here that, I mean, I never thought that many years ago that I would even be sitting here talking to you guys today. I would not have imagined that at all. Going from a person that was afraid to hear myself sing for myself to being on a stage in front of hundreds, maybe thousands of people is a real blessing every single day. And going through a pretty burnout moments in the last few years definitely shows how hard it is to do this job. But still, I'm the same. I wake up every day super grateful that I can, and I will enjoy the time I can do this because I don't take it for granted that it will last forever. So the highlight is, for me personally, that I dared to take the steps when I started recording my first album on my own. Didn't tell anyone because I was sure that I was going to fail, but I didn't. Look at me now! So yeah, I'm really grateful, and highlight is just being able to do what I love every day. That's just, can't even put words to that.
And I'd like to add something to this, because correct me if I'm wrong, you are the first woman nominated to the medal category in Norwegian Grammys.
That's correct.
First woman in history.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
Twice. Just saying.
twice.
Thank you.
It's a pretty good highlight, I think.
Yeah, that's probably true. That should have been like highlight, I guess. So, but I mean, still the Academy chose to go with the safe old male bands, but you know, that's still very cool. And it's because as I just said, I didn't have like a whole lot of role models in this scene when I was growing up. I had role models in other scenes, but I didn't have really many in this kind of whatever it is I do, metal mixture with things kind of scene. And being able to maybe potentially be that for someone else is just, it's surreal actually. And it's really an honor. So more than the actual prize itself, that's super, super cool. And about time, Jesus. Come on, Norway, do better.
That's an interesting thing you said about being a role model. Do you have like this kind of experience that, you know, after the gig, or maybe in the someone DM'd you on Instagram that you are a role model for someone, or like because of you some girl thought, yeah, maybe I can do it too?
Everyone is looking at me. No,
Take your turns, diplomacy.
Yeah, Jesus, I was hoping you guys will answer this. No, actually, of course, people are super nice. but I don't consider myself. I consider myself, I think, anti-hero maybe more than, you know, any role model.
That's even cooler though.
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's the reason.
That's way cooler.
No, so actually, no. I think that really part of me, because I think like when you grow up, you also realize that you have so many different stuff in you. You are not just one thing, you are also like three things in the same time. So actually, it's really great, but I will never probably acknowledge this still. I learned a lot, I grew up, I know, but it's still something I will not acknowledge, you know, that I can be someone's role model. So, no, I'm not even comfortable right now talking about it, so that's shitty, I know. But yeah, pass it on.
Yeah, I get messaged a fair amount, and it's an awesome feeling. At the end of the day, I just do the best I can, and I do what I love. So if that inspires other people and makes people feel that they can achieve what I've been achieving, then that's fucking great. I mean, like, what a bonus to like doing everything you ever wanted to do, like inspiring someone else to do something positive with their lives. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I second that. Like the times you do get people that write you like, oh, I started this project because I saw that you could do it, so I thought I could do it too. It's really, really cool. I mean, like you said, I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a role model. I wouldn't put that label on myself at all. But I have had those messages and people coming up after the shows, and it's just crazy. Like to have, as you said, it's just a bonus of already being able to do something that's super, super meaningful for you. To be able to inspire others to maybe take the same path, even if they know it's a difficult one. It's great. It's really cool.
In this kind of situations, you see how gender actually is important, because, you know, most of the times it's girls who says that, you know. It's like when they see some other girl on the stage, something clicks. So yeah, and I just wanted to add that. I wanted to ask about your role models and the time when you thought, I could be in a band, I could start a band, I could sing, I could play. What happened? Do you remember? Was it like one important situation, or just, you know?
I knew it when I was a little kid. I was typical. I was singing to the, you know, like deodorant or something like this, to the hairbrush or something. Yeah, that was me. So I knew from the beginning that I want to sing. Of course, later on, when I discovered, I don't remember, like it was 95 when Tragic Kingdom was released by No Doubt. I think so, something like this. So after I heard this, of course I had some Polish band, which was really like a huge inspiration for me in terms of me being a girl in a band, because after that I just knew that I want to be a girl in a band. So, you know, from like teenage years, I knew that I will be singing with the guys. It's not gonna be a solo project. I just knew that it's gonna be a band. So I exactly knew that I've seen myself like in many years singing, you know, with the guys on stage, or girls on stage, of course, because we also had a long time ago a girl guitarist. So I just knew that I'm going to be in a band. So yeah, one of those like most popular ones was like probably Gwen Stefani, who was actually, she showed me that, yeah, you can do this. Of course, she never told this to me like personally, but she did. Let's say she did. Yeah, let's say she did. But when I was just watching her, I was just feeling, maybe I can do it too. Like, I'm shit at singing at that point, but maybe I can do it in the future. So, yeah, that was it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to do something like this. Like, massive. I've always been a massive attention seeker. I love attention. I love performing. I just love being loud and hyperactive, and I always have done since I was a kid. Like, it went from sports, and then I found Slipknot. And I was like, fuck yeah. This is like high energy, can't sit still kind of music, which kind of really resonates with me. So yeah, I just always wanted to perform. Like when I was younger, I would like plagiarize jokes from books and tell them to audiences and stuff. So I've just always loved this situation. Even though I kind of get weirdly awkward in social situations, it's an interesting mix, hyperactive but awkward. But yeah, so like in terms of role model, I don't know, I just really fancied Jonathan from Korn, really. And I just thought, oh, I can maybe do that. And then Corey Taylor from Slipknot, and Chino from Deftones. And then latterly, Larissa, no, not Larissa, what's her name? Angela from Arch Enemy as well. So yeah, fucking sick vocalist.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I actually never made the choice to do this because it was just like a part of me from the beginning. Basically, I grew up in a musical family, and it was like a teenager when I discovered that this, like, vocalizing and writing music was a way that I could like deal with my shit, basically, and a way that I could express myself that I just couldn't in any other way. So from that moment, it became very apparent that that was what I was supposed to do. So I didn't question. I never looked back. All the decisions I made has led me to where I am today. And in terms of role models, I had my father, actually.
Aww.
He's he plays on my first album too, because I wanted to share that experience with him. He's a drummer. He was a professional drummer for like 30 years, touring around and stuff like that around the States, because he's American. So he still is a role model for music and otherwise. He's a wise guy. And as well, in music, like, I have to say that I think if we're talking about females in bands, the first one that really like struck a really, how can I say, like, I was really like, whoa, hello, that was Hayley Williams from Paramore. She kicks ass. Like, let's be honest. Like, now the music is very pop, which I think they still do really cool. Like, it's really cool. But that whole pop punk thing was like my jam when I was in my teenage years. And in terms of just bands in general, again, not talking about gender, for me, Typo Negative was a real big one.
Oh, he's really good looking.
Oh, yeah. That's a bonus. That's a bonus. Like, but yeah, that was a big one in terms of like, they had this sound that was just something I found myself really at home in and something I wanted to do, like, even without making a conscious choice of a genre that I wanted to be a part of. It's just this kind of like mixture of really heavy, really dark, with some very uplifting kind of humor as well. I don't have humor in my music, but still the kind of light and dark together. So yeah, I never even questioned that, actually. That was just my path that just happened because it was a need. It wasn't a choice. It was a need to do this, a need to express. And along the way, there were definitely people that showed me that, yeah, this could be possible for you. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Actually, I forgot to tell about the love of my life, which is Hayley Williams. Yeah,
Same.
but that was later on. We were talking about my teenage years when I was a kid. You know, when I was starting to realize that I really want to play music. I want to sing as well. I actually told my parents that I really want to sing, so they signed me up to the flute lessons. Yeah, that was their decision. So, yeah, but it was really cool. It was really cool. But after that, I never played that instrument again. Although we tried, combine it with melodic punk rock, it didn't work well.
That's original.
It didn't work well. But
it's
we
original.
just did it at the rehearsal. We just did it in the rehearsal, so it never like was released or something. But actually, after that, Paramore became the thing. And actually, to be honest, she also showed me that, yeah, you can do this, and you can just move on, and you can still do your thing, and yeah, don't give up. So of course, she didn't tell it to me, but she was a huge inspiration for me as well. That I can do it too, you know. So I think it's also important to realize that all of us need inspiration. All of us need some, you know, kick to move on. And it's also great what you said that maybe I'm not comfortable talking about the comments after the show, although they are hugely positive for us. But it's super, super great when someone texts you or sends you a message or after the show that your band was the reason someone started a band or some project, that's, oh my gosh, I can die. It's the biggest. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. Wow, I have a goosebumps right now. So this is really, really cool. And I've heard it like a couple of times, which is great.
Just to add, Hayley Williams is a big one for me as well. When I was 12 or 13, I used to go into my hairdresser with a picture, being like, I want her hair. And so this is really sad, I'm admitting this, but every time she'd change hers, I'd change mine. I have a restraining order. No, I don't.
Well,
It's okay.
But actually, right now she's blonde, so it fits.
This was accident, by the way.
yeah.
I've grown out of it, okay?
Okay, so what is the most challenging part, and I don't know how to say it, and just in working in music or working with music, what is the hardest part of it?
Constant McDonald's, constant not drinking too much beer, late nights, leaving the hotel room at 6 a.m. even though you've loaded in about 4 hours earlier. That's probably it, really. Apart from that, I love it. Money?
I'm thinking.
Money as well. Everything's expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know what is like the hardest. Maybe you will inspire me. I have no idea.
Okay, so I started with Hayley Williams. Let's try again.
Okay.
So for me, again, because I'm doing Sylvaine is basically me, and I do have a booking agent, I do have a label, but it's basically the full operation is run by myself. The absolute hardest part is not dying, is not burning out, basically, and finding boundaries, healthy boundaries in work. That's almost impossible, to be honest, and that's why I'm always like dancing on the edge of burnout. And sometimes I think the hardest part about that is the fact that it steals my creativity. So the reason why I started to do this and the reason why I chose to be here ends up being the last thing on my list that I can actually do, because I have this massive list of admin things or like other stuff or blah blah blah, and at the end of the day I'm completely drained. I don't have creative energy anymore. That was my life all of last year and the beginning of this year, basically. So for me, the hardest part is finding a balance and actually being able to set boundaries for myself and actually allow myself to just be an artist, which is what I wanted to be. Which I know that sounds very naive and very like, oh, I don't want to do the work. That's not what I mean. But like trying to find a balance between the two can be difficult.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, because like speaking for myself, and I'm sure everyone, like because we love it so much, it's really hard to like be like, I won't stay up until 3 a.m. working on emails, because like it's realizing like having that conversation with yourself, saying that yes, I love this, but it's also okay to be tired from it, and also okay to have breaks and holidays. Like for example, I can't remember a time where I haven't looked at emails daily and things like that. And then as you get older, and since like having COVID and things like that and having a break from touring, it kind of makes you realize how burnt out like I was, like from not taking breaks. And also like you can become resentful if you don't allow yourself rest, and it gives you a better perspective. And I feel like if you give yourself breaks, you can write better music because you have allowed yourself, you know, just time and space from everything.
Actually, now I remember what I had to think, you know, like what is the hardest part for me? And for me, I think the hardest part sometimes is to let go, because I'm a professionalist and I expect a lot from myself. So sometimes letting go is like the hard part. But also, I want to say, like from the like a technical side, we had like 1 or 2 bookers on our way. But, you know, sometimes you realize at some point that the best stuff you can do on your own, because, you know, no one cares about your band as much as you do, because this is the love of your life, this is your passion, this is, you know, everything you put your energy into. So I think booking festivals, you know, getting denied, getting declined because we don't have access to so many great festivals, gigs, supporting acts we wish we could have. So I think like processing this, realizing that, okay, maybe in the future, okay, this happened, but this will not happen. We succeeded at this one, but maybe next year we'll succeed and all the lineup is full and so on. So actually the booking stuff is my thing in our band. So I think this is like, and it's not of course connected with gender and all this discussion, but for me, like this is really hardcore to realizing like not everything is possible at once. So you have to wait for it, work on that. Nothing, happens in a blink of an eye, and that's it. Yeah.
I do bookings in free time, so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I was wondering if you, what is, in your opinion, the most important topic in this whole discussion about gender in music? Because I tried to touch like many different aspects in this conversation, but maybe there is something you think it's the most important thing and it's not talked about.
The most important thing is the time, and the most important thing is that we don't have to discuss it in the future anymore. That's what I wanted to say. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's the most important. So everyone can realize that, as we said before, a musician is a musician. It's not a girl. She's not a bassist. Like she's good as a bassist for a girl and such things. I think the most important is that we don't have to discuss it over and over again in 10, 20 years again. So I think that would be my dream, So we make sure that everyone right now knows what we are talking about, that there is a gender equality. Don't comment on this. Don't make us, and I'm just talking about some minority, of course. I know there are some really, really cool societies, guys, and of course supportive, but at least like all those bad people or like bad behaviors people will realize that comments like what did she have to do in order to be here in this place she is, or does she really deserve it? So if we don't have to listen to those comments anymore, I think that would be like the most important stuff in the future. Yeah.
What you said, basically. You said it so perfectly.
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah, what she said, for sure.
Thanks for that
but
one.
I know we also know, we realize that it's important to talk about it. It's great that you are here, that we are like listening to us. The topic that's been discussed, I think, a lot of times right now. But yeah, our dream is like to be in the future, not in the position to having to discuss about it, as I said, in 10, 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice not being a novelty. Like, just, being in a background, being like furniture, just existing. It'd be nice.
Yeah, sure. Just having the same role as never hearing the word female-fronted band ever again.
Oh, yes.
Please.
That's my favorite.
Please.
It's cancelled. It's officially cancelled.
Yes. Cancelled.
Yeah, there is like a NBA punk rock MBA. Punk rock MBA, exactly. This channel, I love this guy, and he's got the episode about female-fronted music in general, like bands or something, and why this term should be cancelled and we should not use it anymore. So you should check this out, really.
Also, I'd love photographers in the photo pit to have a platform so they can take flattering angles of me, and not, because I can't grow a beard and I double chin when I do vocals, so it'd be really nice if they were on level with me. Because men who can grow beards don't have that issue. It's true. You're like a seal.
That's true.
You read in my mind.
So, could you tell me something about your scene and how do you think it will evolve? Because, for example, Karolina, I think pop punk is having like huge comeback right now.
Oh yeah, not in Poland, but yes. Yeah.
Maybe soon in Poland. You know, Poland is like 5 years later
Yeah.
after everything, so.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope for that. Of course, there are a lot of people listening to that music, but especially in the abroad, it really has a comeback, as you said. So what was the question?
How do you think the scene will evolve?
The positive part is that the scene is evolving still, which is really, really great. There are more and more girls in the scene, so this is really something I'm really happy about. And I just really hope punk rock, skate punk, pop punk, because I don't know, exactly how to frame us, to be honest, sometimes, but something around this. So I believe and I witness and I see this, and I really hope for the future that this scene will still be growing, because it's growing abroad. It's growing a little bit slower in Poland, but I really hope for the future, that I think the best times are yet to come, to be honest. Yeah. Maybe when I will be 60 or 70, the scene will have a huge success, but fuck it. I was a part of it, so I will be happy, for being this, 40 years before.
Justine, I think metalcore is also pretty huge right now. It's like second wave of metalcore or third or.
Oh yeah, well, everything has a 10-year cycle, doesn't it? So we're just going around. I think it's getting bigger. I think bands like Sleep Token, Architects, kind of bring me the rise, and the sort of more alternative music is becoming more mainstream again. So the knock-on effect, I feel like our sort of music will, in theory, reach more people. So I think it will grow, and with things with social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok, I think more and more up and coming artists are going to find it easier to find band members. They're going to get more recognition. Spotify, whether you like them or not, help discover, help people discover bands through playlisting. So I think it's people are able to reach more music. So I think it's going to help really.
And then there was one. So my scene is, I don't even know what my scene is. Kind of atmospheric alternative metal, black metal, something. I don't know. Let's put whatever label you want on it. But I think the good thing about at least the black metal scene, if we take that first, is that it's evolving a lot, and it's much more, I think it's more open for different kind of expressions now. Whereas it was very purist for a long time. And there's still people that are very in that kind of, the only true stuff is the ones that was happening in the 90s in Norway. But I think it's, in general, this kind of that part of the, black gaze, black metal, atmospheric, shoegaze type of metal. It's growing, I think. And I think it's bringing in more and more different kind of influences. So hopefully it won't stop. It will just keep evolving, and it will just keep being okay to bringing new impulses, not just the kind of typical ones, but seeing bands that are doing things that are quite original. So I just think, I hope that the boundaries again between what is right and wrong in the genres will just keep disappearing, and people can just be themselves without other people criticizing.
Okay, girls, thank you so much for the talk, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening.
Sticking around with us for 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Now you can enjoy the rest of the festival.
Dziękujemy serdecznie.
Dziękujemy.
See you guys in the pit.
Piątka.